It's May the 12th, 2025. That was very weird. The cutoff was like immediate. That was strange. It's time to get in the weeds. I'm at Joel Pearl, thejoelpearl.com on Blue Sky. Jeremy Lambert is here. He survived. He is a survivor of a super duper mega metal show. Congratulations. You made it. How you doing,
Thanks.
Jeremy?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm alive. It's a start.
Yeah. It's always good to be alive.
Here, especially here in the city of Toronto. I don't know. The Leafs lost last night, so that was good for me.
Oh,
we got that going on. But also, Punk's on Raw tonight, so he's going to tell you how does it feel to be alive in the city of wherever they are tonight. Where are they tonight?
Nebraska.
No.
I don't know if that's correct. Don't actually. No, they're in Louisville. They're in Louisville,
Kentucky.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever happy in Louisville.
Yeah, fair.
Maybe he's gonna eat a bucket of KFC in front of everyone because they're at the KFC Yum Center.
No, that'd be Dom. Dom likes the chicken tenders, so Dom would eat the KFC, not Punk.
We got the crossover element. We need Dominic Mysterio to eat a bunch of just chicken tenders. That's it. Yeah. And he should be really upset because he misses his live. Doing her moves, getting all worked up, and now he's like, I miss her so much. And he's just got a bucket of chicken tendies. He's like, can't wait for
it. He's drying his eyes with the chicken tendies.
That feels like it would hurt because the grease would get in your eyes.
Well, I mean, Dom's a tough dude. I feel like he can take it. So you just pat his eyes, wipe away the tears with chicken tenders.
It's like when you're watching Hot Ones and they get a little too hot and they're like, no, don't use your hands. Yeah. They gotta get you to use the cloth, the napkins. That's kind of what it is. And they're like, no, don't use the napkin you've already used with your spicy fingers.
Dom's got a lot of chicken tendy experience. I feel like at some point he ate a chicken tender and then like touched his eye too close. So I feel like he'll be all right.
The trick is you got to use like the outside palm here. You get like right here. You got to dab right there if you don't have a proper napkin, or just use your shirts. Use your t-shirt. WWE, they give away the t-shirts like the candy, so it's fine.
You're all uncivilized, uncouth people.
It's wrestling. Most people are uncouth, uncivilized maniacs. What do you expect? They're just living up to the moniker.
Fair.
Bunch of carny ass. Anyway, how was your weekend? How was the concerts? I saw a video you posted. You disrespectful jerk.
I don't know who that band was. My apologies to them. Some of them were very screamy, and like I don't do the screamy. Like if I can't understand the words that you were saying, then I can't listen to this stuff. Like some of them weren't my cup of tea. But then some of the bands were good, The one band came on, it was their name was Suicidal Tendencies, or How I Feel Watching Sports, and they were good. I enjoyed them. They've been around for a while apparently, but yeah, I enjoyed them. They were good. And then Acid Bath performed, and the wife was very excited about that, and they were good. And I was close to the pit, Joel. The pit was forming right around us. I didn't get in there because I was mainly protecting my wife at that point. Like, I was trying to keep her away from the action instead of jumping in there myself. Then we had people, crowd surfing above us. So I almost got kicked in the head during that. So there was that part of it. Alice Cooper performed. That man I thought he was 80. I was incorrect. He is 77.
He is?
Yeah. It's not like he moves a ton or anything, he's not like high energy. He still puts on a good show. Nita Strauss, that's the guitarist, right?
Yep,
She's amazing. She's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. Rob Zombie performed. There were some technical issues with Rob Zombie, but he performed, and he did not do Driving in his 95 Durango. Very sad.
I feel like Never Gonna Stop hasn't been on his set list in like 15 years.
Nah, disappointing. Very disappointing. And Metallica was the other big band there. So saw Metallica, and then on the way out we heard ICP. ICP was performing. So caught some of that. I did not get in the pit, Ryan. It was like 4 men right around me, and I was maybe like I was on the edge of the pit. You know, I didn't get in there. I was on the edge of it, but I was mainly again. I was protecting the wife. That's my excuse.
Suicidal tendencies are still good. It was a family affair at Sonic Temple because, for those who don't know, Suicidal Tendencies bassist is Rob Trujillo from Metallica. It's his son who plays bass for Suicidal, and Rob played bass for Suicidal like before Metallica.
Okay.
So there's a family.
I'd never heard of them. Very funny story of we were walking around and yeah, it's a festival. So my legs were very tired and a lot of standing and everything, but it was a lot of fun. Like it was set up well. You could get to where you need to get to very quickly. And the only bad thing was like the merch. Like there was one merch kind of place and that was it. You would think they would have multiple merch tents and there was only one. And the line for the merch looked like it was about 2 hours long at every single point of the concert. So we didn't get any merch. And I felt very bad because I wanted to get my wife a shirt. But understandably, she didn't want to wait in the 2 hour line. And she would not allow me to wait in the 2 hour line. But I was very surprised that they only did like one kind of merch stand. It was big, you know, it's multiple bands. So it was a giant merch stand, but there was still only one of them set up. So what I was getting to is we're walking around and we were taking a break at one point and we're just off to the side somewhere. And there's this guy there. I didn't know who he was, but it was him and his friends. And he has this hat on and it's flipped up and it says suicidal on it. So I didn't know who he was. About 10 minutes later, this guy's on stage and with all of his friends. I was like, oh, he was just out there chilling just amongst the people just like 10 minutes ago where we were in this little area. It was off to the side. It was like right around the entrance area. We were dealing with some stuff. And then and I was like, he was just over there where we were just hanging out. Now he's up on stage. So again, had I know who he was, I would have said something, but I didn't know who the hell he was until he actually stepped on the stage.
That actually rules. The merch thing though, that's not too surprising. I mean, normally there's a big long merch kind of tent, like you said, but most venues, they'll do like one on either side of the venue. So that was kind of
this was not one on either side. This was
I know, I get it.
Total. Like
it was that's out of place. There should be one on either side, not just the one that you guys had.
Apparently there were a lot of complaints about that. And I guess it was a lot better last year when it came to merch because Ryan's saying I grabbed merch right when we got there early and the line was, so they have like the what are they called? Safety. It's not even safety things.
Like the turnstiles when you walk in?
It's not a turnstile. No. It's for the merch. I don't even know what to call them. Hopefully people will understand what I'm talking about. But like belts, so you could go where you're supposed to go and, let's loop around. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like the safety barricades. Sure. They're like walk through. Yeah. Like line up queue. They're like queue.
You don't know what to call them either, Joel.
No, I don't. But someone will because someone works in event coordination here, I'm sure.
So they have that, and it's like 5 rows deep of you have to go around here and then around here and then around here and then around here. It's like the belt line is like 5 rows deep. It was past that, and then stanchions. Sure, Shucky Ducky.
Kind of, but not exactly.
But it's like 5 rows deep on just that you have to go all the way around. And then it's out even further than like where the belt is at. Like, and then it's like another 3 rows past that of people just waiting. The line was absolutely absurd. It was at its lowest near the end because then everyone was at like Metallica and everything. It's like, oh, well, we don't want to miss them. So that's when it was at. And even then it was still at the very start of when you like enter here area. So it was just going to be a long wait. And I was willing to do it, but I understand why the wife didn't want to do it. So that was the only, I guess, disappointing part was the merch situation could have been a lot better.
Yeah. They are, by the way, they are stanchions, but they're also crowd control posts. Like Americans will just call them crowd controllers.
Sure.
But yes, they are stanchions if you're of the smart variety. But did you eventually get the merch, or did you just kind of
No.
you just kind of said forget it?
Yeah, because it was just a long line. And then by the time, and the other problem was we didn't want to get up there and then find out that they didn't have like her size or anything. Cause that would really suck. Cause you get up there, you've been in line for like 2 hours, and then we get a shirt and turns out they're sold out of the shirt that she wants. So like, there's no way to know that, like you just got to kind of take your risk, and that's a long line to wait in to take that kind of risk, and it just wasn't worth it.
Oh, sorry, we don't have any women's merch today. It's like, you don't what? You realize that like almost half of your participants today are women.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we didn't bring them. It's okay. They can fit into a size small men's.
Yeah.
or kids large. It's not how it works. You always got to have women's merch at your shows. Doesn't matter what you're going to. You will make good money. It sounds like you guys had a good time.
Yeah.
My buddy was there, but he wasn't there on Friday. He was there on Saturday because the band that he was working with, they were working, I think, Cleveland the night before, because they were touring into town coming from Texas. So they decided pick up a gig on either day and then work the festival around that. So he was there, but unfortunately I couldn't arrange a meeting because you were only there on Friday.
Yeah.
Darn. It's okay. Next time you go to a big metal show, I'll hook you up with my friends. By the way, you know what you do with the merch thing? You leave at the end of the night, and you find all the bootleggers who are sitting outside the gates.
When we left, there were some people selling some bootleg shirts, but at that point we were tired and we just wanted to like get to our car
and haggle a $5 shirt off of these people. It's like when
we're not Josh Bishop out here.
That's fair. If you left WrestleMania, or really any wrestling event, because I was at Mania, right? As you're walking across the bridge or just walking out of the parking lot, once you hit like the non-private area, the more public areas, you'll find people with boxes of bootleg ass shirts just hanging out. They're like, get your official merchandise. And you're like, hey, come on, man, really official? What are you doing? Just take my $5. I want your ugly ass shirt. That was the thing from your Josh Bishop chat. He's all about bootleg shirts.
Yeah, that's why I said we're not Josh Bishop.
Well, I know. That's why I just remembered. That's why you brought him up. Maybe you are Josh Bishop, and I just didn't know it.
Nah, he's much stronger than I am.
That is true. He is much stronger, much more blonde too.
Yeah.
Should probably work on that. Anyway, I'm glad that you had a good weekend. Did you do anything else fun?
Well, let's say I had a good weekend. I had a fine
Friday. How was the rest of your weekend then?
I had to watch wrestling, so it sucked.
Sounds like it was amazing. You had the best time ever. Did you watch something last night? I mean, JCW was in the afternoon.
I watched the Thunder game yesterday, and that's about all I did.
That sounds like a recipe for disaster. I don't know what happened in that game.
Oh, we won.
Oh, okay. Well,
shout out to all the mothers. Happy belated Mother's Day out there. Specifically my wife, who was the best mother.
I mean, my wife's a pretty great mom too, so we did this on Friday. SB3 and I did the Mother's Day thing on Friday, so I guess you can catch up since you weren't here.
Okay.
Except for like those 5 minutes. Anyway, speaking of 5 minutes, we're 15 minutes in. You should probably leave a thumbs up on the video. Get your pyro, get your ballyhoo. Come on. You got it for us? Yeah, you got this. Come on, King of the Lucas.
I don't care.
Come on, King of the Lamberts. You can do it, I promise. Okay, maybe not. No pyro today. It's not a good Monday for everyone, but it is here. It's nice. It's a beautiful day, sunny, no clouds here in Toronto. You can also subscribe to the channel. Always goes up far away for us, and you can donate a super chat any amount. Get your question, statement, you're on the air, lead our conversation, like Cyclops Bid did, saying, I made $120. I hope that's $120 off of bets on Saturday. Thank you, Lyra. Well, I mean, listen, if you're going to get $120 off of bets, maybe you can give us more than $2. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you for a super chat. That's a good bet to make. I thought Lyra was going to win at Backlash. She was the only babyface to win a match at Backlash. Didn't need a schmoz, well, too much of a schmoz finish for that. That Backlash was fine. We can talk about Backlash or we can talk about other stuff.
I'm fine with whatever.
I mean, really, the lead off is we can come back to Backlash. I think really the big news, unfortunately, yesterday was unfortunately the loss of Sabu. He passed away yesterday, and I said it on Twitter. I was really lucky that I got to watch that last match and I got to cover it and I got to do what I did. And also I had been watching Sabu for a long time, like many people have, and a lot of people have shared their love or how they discovered Sabu or what made him different. And there's not a lot more than I can say about that other than the dude was the weirdest trailblazer because he did it his own way. He was never right, but he was always himself, and he's been through a lot and he has done a lot, and it was really unfortunate news to hear. At the same time, it's amazing that he got his last match. He has been through so much, especially in the last few years, that I think in some ways it's good for him because he has just been through so much. Now he can rest easy. So again, friends, family, those who knew him, those who are fans of his, wish you all the best, and we wish you strength and courage, love, all that. It was tough news to listen to. And before you take over, Joey Janela did give a bit of a eulogy, a bit of a talk before JCW, talking about his connection to Sabu. And I think a lot of people were waiting for Joey's words. He was in Toronto on Saturday working Greektown Wrestling. Shockingly won the Greektown title. That was an interesting thing I didn't expect. But then he flew back to do JCW and had plenty to say about his relationship with Sabu, as tumultuous as it was and as much of a fan as he was. And I think that's something that if you have the time to go back and watch, it's in the first 10 minutes of the JCW show. And they put together a very, very nice piece GCW did about Sabu's career. It's about a minute and a half. You can go watch that. But yeah, that was a very sad way to spend your Sunday.
So Sabu and RVD were the people that got me into ECW. I grew up as a WCW kid in Virginia, and then watched Raw and everything. And Sabu infamously jumped off the Raw sign for that one episode. So what's going on here? And then I started just kind of dial up internet, AOL, whatever you might have, searching for ECW clips off of that. And I just watched this dude. I love a good chair throw. I've said that many times. I love a good chair throw. Nobody threw a chair to someone's head like Sabu. So I'd search up the ECW clips and I'd see Sabu. I love that he would do so much with a chair. So much of the offense, the Arabian face buster, the triple jump moonsault and everything. And then his stuff with Sabu or RVD, the tag team matches against Hayabusa and Shinzaki, they did some really cool stuff together. And Sabu just did some really cool stuff on his own in ECW. And he had some amazing matches in WWE. You would not think Sabu would have great matches in WWE, but that John Cena match was fantastic. The Rey Mysterio match, they wrestled Sabu style matches, which Rey Mysterio doesn't have to do that stuff. John Cena doesn't have to do that stuff. They were like, yeah, let's go out there and let's have a Sabu match. The match against Abyss, the barbed wire massacre match against Abyss in TNA is another one that stands out from, I guess, technically later in his career. Man, Sabu was just so innovative and so fearless in the best possible ways when he was in the ring. And his style is still so copied today that people probably don't even realize it, of how much Sabu stuff that is there and how much influence that he had. You'll now it all come to light, because this is what always happens when someone passes. But man, watching his matches was always so much fun, because he would just do the craziest things, and he would make them his own. He would make them stand out. Like, it was cool. It was just always cool to see, especially as a kid who only grew up watching WCW. Like, seeing that stuff was like, oh, there's a whole other world of wrestling out here outside of WCW. And Sabu was my gateway into a lot of that. So I was really sad yesterday when the news came down. We talked about his last match and how Joey Janela mentioned it yesterday. It's like people felt how they felt about that. He's like, some people thought it was the greatest match ever. Other people thought me and Brett should be in jail for what happened with that match. And you're probably right on both accounts. But that match was everything it needed to be for like a last Sabu match. And for him, from what Janela said, what Sabu told him after the match, it sounds like Sabu was really proud of that match. Obviously, Janela was really proud of that match. I thought it was a great match. Like, you can say what you want about it. I'm glad everybody was okay in the immediate aftermath because it looked very rough. But for a Sabu match, like, I didn't want anything different from that match. It was everything a Sabu match, especially his last match, should have been. It's unfortunate news of his passing, and I assume we'll get some more tributes and everything tonight and moving forward, as we should, because as I said, Sabu's influence runs much deeper than people probably give credit for. I always bring this up, but I love the story of the fake botches that he would do, because Sabu already had the reputation like, oh, Sabu botches a lot. So he already had that reputation a little bit, but he would work in fake botches to the match. So the crowd would chant, "You fucked up." And then he would laugh in the ring of like, ha, we got him. We fooled these marks. Like, that's just amazing stuff. Like, that's true worker shit right there. You're going to work in fake botches to get a "you fucked up" chant to show how much you are working that specific crowd. That's next level shit right there. Absolutely next level.
He knew what he was doing, and he was trained by some of the best, and he lived through one of the best times to be doing what he was doing. He was one of a kind. Going back to that last match, you want to know how I guess like how much people paid attention. I know that Joey said 2,000 independent wrestling fans came and really got into the match, and that's how you know that he was beloved. I was standing with security guards who worked at Palms, who they weren't part of the show at all. There were other people who were part of the show doing security. The security guards at Palms were watching this match and being like, what is this? Like, they couldn't get their eyes away from the car wreck. They were so enthralled, and they're like, I kind of remember seeing this guy. And they I guess maybe they used to watch wrestling or whatever it was, but they were paying attention to it. And I thought that was so cool that they were, putting their eyes on the product. They probably should have been putting their eyes on people maybe trying to get into the ring, but it doesn't matter. They were fine. It was a very special match. Like you said, it was by no means perfect, but it was exactly what it needed to be. They had the best possible match for a Sabu style match. And if I was Sabu, I would have been just over the moon that this is how I called it a career. This is how I ended it. He got his plaque for the Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame at the same show. And it was a night that he could look back on and say, I did everything I needed to do. And that's it. It's poetic in a way. And it sucks that there are people here that still wanted him around and still wanted him to be a part of their lives. But sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. So I know one of the big things that affected Sabu personally was the loss of his partner, and that's something that Janela mentioned when cheerleader Melissa passed away a few years ago, and Sabu always talked about her. And that's something that now, if you believe in the afterlife, it's someone that he gets to be with again. So again, it's a sad day for a lot of people, and for others who knew Sabu, they have their way of grieving. They're going to talk about it, and yeah, this is just another outlet for us to talk about it as fans and as people who have watched a lot of him. And in Jeremy's case, said, this was one of the people that got me invested into professional wrestling. And I remember watching ECW, and I remember watching him. Sabu wasn't even my guy in ECW, which is hilarious. It was more Rob Van Dam. Later on, it was Rhino Incredible, and just that it was never Sabu for whatever reason, but I always enjoyed watching Sabu perform. He just wasn't one of the ECW guys that I was like, I have to watch him. But over the years, you come back and you're just like, oh, I should have been watching him more. I think it's pretty amazing. A lot of people are going to go back and study Sabu tapes, and I'm sure you're going to see a lot of tributes, and that's pretty cool too. So I'm sending our love to those who are affected by all of this. All right, where to next, boss? Vol sent a super chat saying, I called that Janela Sabu match was going to be a vanilla fumble, and I chocolate fumbled it. All right, this one's confounded me. Please explain yourselves. I know the vanilla fumble me. I get that. Is a chocolate fumble a good thing?
I feel like maybe he's chocolate, so he's saying he chocolate fumbled it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. What about a strawberry fumble?
Well, he's not a ginger, so.
But then it wouldn't everything about Blake Christian also be a strawberry fumble instead of a vanilla?
No, because he's still white.
Vanilla, I guess he's vanilla, baby.
Yeah.
Vanilla strawberry fumble?
No.
Well, because he's got a redhead thing. I feel like we're thinking about this too much.
Yes.
No. Chocolate fumble. Oh, Jeremy got it.
Yeah.
I'm sure SB3 will be giving his thoughts as well on Tuesday, but he mentioned, I still remember watching Sabu on WCW Nitro in 1995. Yeah. That's part of the reason I found out about ECW. RIP to the Extreme Trailblazer Sabu. So there we go. We've all been affected. We've all been affected, and we've all seen Sabu, and we've all seen
Sabu worked. Sabu worked for all the top companies during his time. He didn't work for AEW, but he still had a spot in AEW. He worked for TNA. He worked for WCW, WWE, ECW, New Japan. Like he wrestled for all the top promotions.
He did AAA
during his time, and he was a guy that he had a Hall of Fame career. And I don't know if he'll ever go into the WWE Hall of Fame. He should, but it's not a real thing that matters. But he had a Hall of Fame career, and he had a Hall of Fame career in the eyes of his peers and in the influence of his peers. And that matters more than some ring that they give you.
If it's an undersized ring, then it came from AEW, right? Only in Australia. Did you see the Maven AEW video? I snuck into AEW. I loved that video because it's one of those, if you know some of the faces, I think Maven was a lot of fun. I think Maven's content is a lot of fun. It's just really funny to me how he's got the big clip-on Rode mic, the clip-on lavalier mics, which are big boxes, and he's like walking around being like, okay, we gotta be sneaky here. We don't want to get caught and get kicked out. I'm like, I'm watching the AEW PR team on camera literally lead you around this venue. I thought it was really fun. I thought the video was really fun. It's funnier to me knowing some of the faces. But Maven getting around and talking to Billy Gunn, talking to Josh Matthews. I thought it was really good stuff. It was really cute. And then, of course, the big culmination being he gets to bump into Tony Khan, and Tony talks to him about a Halloween party in like 2004 that they met at. And of course, that's what Tony would do. Tony just has that encyclopedic photographic knowledge of where he's met or seen people. Thought it was cute. I think Maven does a good work. We've talked about him on the channel before, but I'll put this over, and it was just very funny.
It was fun.
Did you love watching Billy Gunn?
It was fun.
Billy being like, I'm not walking over there. You're going to walk over to me because I don't want to make it look like I'm putting you over. And I'm like, classic Billy Gunn. Classic. Yes, Gray saying Tony Khan is such a nerd to remember that specific night. He did the same thing with Christian. Like he was his favorite wrestler and like told Christian about moments in his career that he couldn't like remember. That was very funny stuff. Again, I know Tony has people feeling different ways about whatever, but I think the fact that he loves wrestling unabashedly is something that's worth celebrating. And that's good stuff. Yeah, Maven, he makes good content. He's not burying stuff. He's doing really well. So I'm glad to see that.
For the most part, he makes good content. He did that video with Just Incredible that was weak.
But sometimes you learn from that stuff. Sometimes you do have to have a crappy video or a crappy episode of the show, for example, where you pick yourself up afterwards and you're like, all right, let's do something better.
Yeah.
But this was a good one. And again, I get to laugh at it because I notice the faces in the crowd and I'm just like, I know what this is. Most just like TV. It's all fake, you know. Nothing is real, and it's okay if you're sucked into it and you believe in it, then it's worth your time. And I watched it, and 99% of it, I was just laughing at how good it was for Maven to put that together. He's got a really good collaborator. Who the guy that he's working with, they've definitely done some good stuff together. So I'll put that over. Put that over. I will. Billy Gunn also showed up at Maple Leaf Pro. He didn't win, so clearly Scott D'Amore hates Billy Gunn. No, I'm just kidding. Maple Leaf Pro last night was in Toronto. I did not attend. I thought about it at the last minute. They ran on Saturday night, I should say. Josh Alexander won the Maple Leaf Pro men's title. Gisele Shaw, with the help of George Iceman, my God, wins the women's championship for Maple Leaf Pro. They're moving on, man. Maple Leaf Pro is starting to really pick up their steam. They've had some run of good shows, and cue the Tony Khan booster that you guys use, but they're doing good stuff in Maple Leaf. I'm not sure if you got a chance to watch the entire show or just bits and bobs. What do you think?
No, I watched the show. I had it on during Backlash as well. Multiple monitors set up going. From my attention was mainly on Backlash, but from what I saw of Maple Leaf Pro, it was good. I would very interested to like what they are in totality. Right? Because right now it feels a little super indie, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. But their world champion's a guy who's under AEW contract. Their women's champion Gisele Shaw is fine. Like we've had her on the show before, and she's good. She continues to improve, but she wrestled a WWE ID talent in the finals, so the outcome wasn't like really in doubt on that. And who else are they going to be able to bring in to face Gisele? Obviously, her relationship with Scott people are gonna talk about that and why she's the champion and stuff. And like that's the stuff you kind of open yourself up to when you're in that position and you put the title on her. So, and then the rest of the stuff, like their main people are kind of independent people. So I just want to know like what Maple Leaf Pro fully is. Zack Sabre Jr. and Jonathan Gresham had a great match, by the way. Like that was fantastic. So I hope to see more of them. Jonathan Gresham's a guy, he's not signed anywhere, that you could really kind of utilize and build around. They did the non-finish between War Dogs and Good Brothers, and are they going to run that back as a thing? Good Brothers are going to be everywhere because they're always everywhere. War Dogs, though, they're signed in New Japan, so how often are they going to be coming in? And the big triple threat with Gabe Kidd and Oku and Speedball, those are two signed talents, and Oku. Like, I just want to know, like, I want to know more of what the promotion is besides Canadian Super. And maybe that's all it's supposed to be. And you know what? That's fine too. Give these Canadian talents some shine. Let them have some standout performances. Hopefully they get noticed because they're on a card with AEW people and WWE ID people, and you go from there. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. I don't want it to come off of like I'm knocking, oh, you got to be more than a Canadian Super. No, you don't have to be. Like that's completely fine. I want to see if it's going to be more than that. And if it's not, look, they're putting on great shows. That's what matters at the end of the day, is they're putting on great shows.
I think when you start a company like this, you almost need to start off as a super indie. And that was one of the knocks on AEW when it started, right? It was, where are the stories, or at least we're just putting on great matches for great matches' sake. But sometimes you've got to start that way to kind of build your fan base and get people acclimated to what your wrestling style could be. I know that at one point Scott D'Amore was interested in building into a television scene, but for now, it's supposed to be a celebration of Canadian talent. Whether or not they wind up on television, say in the United States, where it would be technically more profitable, that'll be up to them. And also, doing something like that might also force their hand to go across to the States when they're supposed to be a Canadian company. So, like, there are positives and negatives to doing this as a Canadian company, but there are also Canadian pockets that will pay for the content. So, Scott, I can tell you right now, Scott D'Amore specifically is not hard up for cash. He is not needing the money, but what he could use is something that helps supplement the money that goes into Maple Leaf Pro, because at the end of the day, you want a fiscally responsible and solvent company that makes money, and therefore you can pay talent and you can continue to build on the programming that you're doing. So I think that television is something he wants. It's just something that is going to have to be focused in Canada, because that's what Maple Leaf Pro is supposed to be, a celebration of Canadian talent. And then you bring in, like you see, everyone from everywhere. And it does, but you're right. It needs to eventually develop storylines that make you want to watch a potentially weekly TV show or even a monthly special event.
I don't need another weekly show. And I don't know if, I mean, maybe they can supplement it and make it happen to do a weekly show. It kind of feels like weekly programming right now is a fool's errand for these companies that aren't obviously WWE and AEW. I mean, look where TNA is at. They have a weekly show that have been on the same network for years now. That the reason it's on the network is because it's the parent company, and they haven't been able to find like a stronger network. Like maybe Scott can get some type of deal in Canada, and that would be cool. But running weekly shows, I don't know if that's like a sustainable thing. Like what would TNA actually do? Let's say they got on a better network. And I'm maybe saying like a huge. Let's say they got on Fox Sports 1, right? That's a fine little network.
Sure.
And they decided they were going to run weekly, not this taped batch stuff. Because it feels like you got to run taped batch stuff at this point. Let's say they wanted to actually run weekly. What do those shows draw? Like a few hundred people?
See, that's the problem, is that if you are going to run live weekly, you have to either go to Florida and do a full sale weekly type of thing. And then you get a lot of the NXT crowd that are going to the PC now. And that's what you're hoping for, is that you're just going to get that studio audience that keeps coming back every week to TNA. And then they travel for other events, a pay-per-view, a plus show, whatever it could be. But I get what you're saying. And I agree with you. When you go back to Maple Leaf Pro, they would just, if they're going to do television, it would have to be Canadian TV, but also Fight TV exists. There are international partners that you can have for streaming. Someone mentioning TNA on HGTV, and that's very funny. Flip this to Wrestle House, but that's what you're kind of stuck with both companies.
And the other thing is, let's say Maple Leaf Pro gets like a weekly thing. Well, there goes a lot of your talent, because you ain't using Josh Alexander for these weekly shots. I mean, maybe Tony would allow it, but depending on when you were taping, depending on what network you're on, and Tony's friendly with these promotions, but there's a difference between, hey, yeah, I'll let you use this guy for a one-off on a Saturday night when we're not running anything, and yeah, this guy's going to be featured on your weekly show when we also have a weekly show to worry about. Like there's a big difference between that. So I don't think weekly is like the way to go. I think the biggest thing is creating interest in your monthly shows. I'm fine if they want to run monthly, and that's generally what they're doing at this point. But how do you create interest in those monthly shows? How do you build to those monthly shows via essentially social media and online fan base, because you don't have TV? And that's what Maple Leaf Pro is got to do moving forward. And instead of just like, hey, here's this cool match, like, how do we put a little something behind it? You know who's great at this? And they completely vanilla fumbled all of it. NWA was so good at this when they first started. The stuff with Nick Aldis and Tim Storm, when they did like the 10 pounds of gold series and they built it up like this super fight that you had to see. It was very throwback to, not even throwback, but like it's very reminiscent of the countdown to UFC specials back when those things existed. Maybe they still do. I haven't watched one in like a decade probably, but like that's what it felt like. That's where I think a company can capitalize and do stuff like that and build your interest of you got Josh Alexander, right? He's your champion. Who's a big challenger? Michael Oku. Let's say Michael Oku. He's a pretty well-known name in the certainly overseas and building a little bit here in the US. Let's say Josh Alexander and Michael Oku is like your next big match. Probably should have Michael Oku win that triple threat in that case, but that's neither here nor there. So you got Josh Alexander and Michael Oku, and you just do like a 30-minute special on that match and Gisele and whoever she's going to face and defend the title against. And you just build something out of that and tell people why they need to see this match. And that's something different that you don't see for the most part else in independent wrestling. Like you mainly see just like, here's the match card graphic. Do you like this match? Tune in. If you don't, okay. But you don't see like a full-on build for this stuff. And GCW does it because they run show to show to show. So they have certain matches they've built up more than others. But for your one-off like kind of indies, you just don't see that stuff.
I do think it's more likely that they go to, so a couple of chats that really tied together, like a Canadian PWG model where they run every month or every other month and they're special. And they are just a special company that their programs carry over from show to show instead of weekly to weekly. And that's that. And I think there's room for that because, you know, Major O'Blood mentions MLP on CBC, which is the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. They just got infused with cash from the latest election. I'm not saying that they're going to give it, you know, to an MLP, but the point I'm making is public broadcasting continues to be something in Canada that people do pay attention to. Would CBC want to pay something out for that? I don't know. Maybe on their streaming platform, but I like the idea because CBC is obviously the biggest broadcaster. And then you've got others who might pony up for the opportunity. Sportsnet probably won't do it because they've got TNA. TSN has AEW, so probably not. Or maybe they will because they can put it on one of the billions of versions of the channel that they have. Much like ESPN has 20 different variants, so does Sportsnet and so does TSN. So maybe it would arrive on TSN 78 and that'll be that. It would be fine as like I said, a super indie. And it runs on Fight and it runs on and the big deal in Canada being that they're running on Canadian television, not just go by the Fight on Fight. You know, you can run it on a Canadian television show. Television platform, and that's good enough. And you get these people, like you said, Josh Alexander has a big match against whoever is the next opponent. They run big trailers on socials. They maybe run them on a Canadian special that they get leading into the event, kind of like what AEW does before the pay-per-views on the countdown shows. You take a 30-minute time slot and you get all those matches built and you get packages out of them. So there's something you can do there. It would be good, but as of right now, they're very much a super indie that runs on Fight, and that's what you get, and that's how you start to build. And people are paying for the shows. The crowd was into it. I was told, so they did the whole "it was sold out" graphic, and that was shortly after I'd posted like maybe I should go to MLP tonight, and then my kid was being kind of an asshole, so I didn't do it. That's why I didn't go. Honestly, it's because my kid was just being a lot. So by the time I got him down, I'm like, I'm not making it to the show in time, but. A friend of mine who was there was like, I just got here. This place is nowhere near nowhere near full. And I was like, okay, this could be another like TNA rebellion thing where they say they're sold out, but then they're not actually sold out. And then throughout the night, it did fill in. So clearly my friend was just there quite early. And I was like, nah, it's not worth going through the hassle. I'll reach out properly to Maple Leaf next time if I want to go. And that'll be that. I don't have a contact in Maple Leaf Pro because I just haven't tried yet. And it's not for a lack of interest. It's just for a lack of time. But yeah, it sounded like the show was a lot of fun, and I would do it again next time. But not Montreal, because I don't want to go. It's gonna be Josh versus PCO. Like, you just know it.
Nah.
Because they're gonna sell the show off the back of PCO.
Yeah, probably. Like that's fine, honestly. Like, I don't have too much interest in that. But again, you can do like a countdown type build for that match and probably tell a pretty good story out of that. Because PCO understands who he is as a character and as a person, and so does Josh. So you could probably tell a good story on a countdown type special. That's not a feud that screams weekly television shit right there. That would be a feud where I would not be interested watching that week to week. But as a 20-minute talk yourself into the building, you know what? I'm interested in this now. Not everything needs to be a week-to-week feud. Anyway, WWE Backlash, headlined by John Cena and Randy Orton, and coming out of it, John Cena and Archer.
Boy, was that a shot! That was great. Great segue, by the way.
Thank you.
That show was a show.
The in-ring stuff was fine. Like, it was a good in-ring show. The build-up wasn't anything special. The best build-up, Lyra and Becky was pretty good. Gunther and McAfee was good. I love John Cena. Oh, God.
So was McAfee and Gunther good? I think that's a conversation that has been going back and forth.
The match or the build-up?
I guess you're talking about the matches. I guess you're talking about the build-up, I should say. I think the build-up for McAfee and Gunther was fine, mostly because McAfee, we haven't seen McAfee do a promo in a while, other than his, like, when he's being the guy on the microphone or like on the headsets. We haven't seen him do it with a crowd behind him who knows what he's saying and all that stuff. So, like, it was different. It was novel. But yeah, we'll go into the rest of it and we'll get there.
Oh, okay. I thought McAfee and Gunther was a fine build up because McAfee delivered some really strong promos and the Gunther beatdown was really good. So only like 3 weeks to build this stuff. It's not like anything overstayed its welcome too much. And the build up that sucked was Cena and Orton. And I love Cena, but this heel turn ain't really doing a whole lot. Like, he feels like, and this was my concern. This was legitimately my concern. And Jensen laughed at me for this, but I was proven correct, as always. That promo segment with Cody Rhodes, where Cena does the, oh, let's fight. Oh, never mind. Ha ha ha. I'm not going to, let me throw a swing at you. And then he gets laid out with the crossroads. Like, this is generic heel bullshit right here. Why is John Cena doing generic heel bullshit? He is John Cena. He spent years combating this. He should know better than all of this. And after that moment, every single time he's been on television since, it has been generic heel bullshit. If this was not John Cena, if this was Logan Paul doing this, everyone would say it's far worse than they're saying it is with John Cena. And a lot of people are saying this ain't good with John Cena. But you would think it's way worse if this was Logan Paul doing this, because it is so cookie cutter nonsense to where this is your best idea with John Cena. You made him generic heel A out here. This is the biggest star of the past couple of decades. This is the biggest babyface one of in wrestling history. This is a Mount Rushmore wrestler for a lot of people. And you made him generic heel A out here. This is the shit they write in video games of, like, and this week, the heel is going to say, all the fans suck, and this is why I turned on you. And then he's going to get laid out. This is the best y'all got with John Cena.
I think what is extra annoying to me is the amount of people who have tried to spin it as John Cena's never been a heel. He's learning how to do it. He doesn't know how. And it's like,
no, hold
everything you said is exactly why it shouldn't be that way. He has faced all of these people. He has combated all these people. If anything, he should be a level up on what a traditional heel would do. And he should be able to do it better than any heel would because he's combated all of these heels. He's done all this stuff. He should be better than this.
No, the worst part of all this is the people defending it by saying it's bad on purpose.
Oh, it's bad on purpose. They only did that for the one match.
They're still doing it.
Are they doing this now?
They are still doing it.
Shit,
he wants to ruin wrestling. And that's what he's doing. So he's doing bad stuff on purpose so he can ruin wrestling. No.
Dumb.
No. There are better ways to ruin wrestling than just doing bad heel stuff on purpose. Hold the show captive. The NWO, they were out to ruin wrestling. They wanted to create wrestling how they wanted it. So they weren't doing bad shit on purpose. They were out there throwing people into production trucks. They were taking over the show. They got the boss on their side with everything. They went after the top guys with everything. It's bad on purpose. Stop it. Stop with this bad on purpose stuff. It's just bad. And if they're purposely making it bad, they're stupid.
What makes it just a little worse, for me at least, is there was some conversation that went around about with the releases and the ages and the ageism, and then all of a sudden you've got John Cena who's pushing 50 and Randy Orton who's pushing 50, R-Truth who's now pushed 50 if he's not already there. He's there.
He's 54.
Is he 54? Jesus Christ. Listen, man, looks good. Give him that. And I don't want to turn this into like an ageism conversation, but I will say as much as like there is some credence to the conversation that like you can't say so-and-so is past their prime at 37 when you've got 50-something wrestlers, aged 50-something wrestlers doing your main events and not being seen as like top tier or giving what they should be giving at this age. And now you're potentially going to Cena and R-Truth. And yeah, sure, it's Saturday night's main event is the proposed date that they're going to do it. But like the other match on the other side of the card isn't exactly wooing anyone either. And that's Jey Uso and Logan Paul. That one has been announced for the World Heavyweight Championship. Cena and Truth, like there's a story beat in there that maybe John Cena is starting to come around and realize that he's not fit to be a heel or that he doesn't like what he's become. And Truth is like part of the reason why he starts to see this. That's like the only thing where I'm like, okay. And by the way, this doesn't absolve the problem, but what this does is at least it's something, but it's still not good enough in my opinion. So doing Cena and Truth at this show is like, I don't know. If I saw what the ticket sales were like now for Saturday night's main event, I wouldn't be surprised to see the number suddenly jump the other way as like people sold all their tickets and got refunds. It's not what I would have done to put it like that.
John Cena might come around. He might be seeing the error of his ways. After a month, 2 months, that's what you got,
right?
Out of a 2 month. That's what you got out of the John Cena heel turn. 2 months and a feud with Randy Orton and R-Truth. Vala B, call it a vanilla fumble. That's awful. If they are already trying to say, oh, he's starting to see the error of his ways, he's going to be good. You completely wasted a John Cena heel turn. If this is what you got out of it, and now you want to try to start turning him back to a baby face. This man should have been fucking shit up. That's what this John Cena should have been doing. He should have taken all this anger and all this vitriol that he's been built up for years and years and years of the fans turning on him and let's go Cena sucks, and saying Cena sucks to his theme song and booing him when he was the face of the company and getting tired of him winning. He should have taken all this vitriol and fired it back at every single person in WWE. He should have been ruining matches, legitimately ruining them, not just having bad matches. He should have been tearing stuff down. Instead, he cuts generic you people promos and he gets laid out by the babyface. And that's it. It ain't good enough for what should have been and what was called the biggest heel turn of all time. Like you can't. The NWO ran its course, right? We all agree on that. It overstayed its welcome. They got years out of that shit with Hulk Hogan, though. Years with Hulk Hogan. And look, you can say that, oh, it went on too long and they added too many people and everything. They gave you a year-long story with Hogan and Sting, week-to-week television. And they kept it interesting most of those weeks. It got a little overplayed in some aspects. Like, oh, cool, the NWO, they win it again and everything. But then they give you stuff like, oh, Luger wins the title, and they give you that babyface moment. They at least got a full year out of that. Plus, because then Hogan, lost the title to Sting, and once the Sting stuff happened, it was kind of downhill after that. But they still got you a lot of run out of that Hogan heel turn. Cena, you're getting a couple of months, and he's supposed to turn back by the summer. I fully suspect him to be babyface by the end of it. By the way, I think they're going to go with a babyface John Cena in his last match. And I'm not even saying that's the wrong call, because I understand why they would want to do that, especially it's going to be Boston TD Garden. So I understand why they want to do that. But you didn't have a plan. Your GPS was this fucking broken, Paul, that you entered your destination and your GPS, it's the fucking Office bit. Turn right here. That's a lake, Michael. That's a lake. It says turn right, though. You go right into the damn lake.
With the potential December show in Boston, he's got to be a babyface by then. He does. If you do, I don't know, maybe San Diego, maybe it's a Survivor Series. That's when you see a babyface turn back for John Cena, at which point it was the summer of Cena the bad guy, and that's the best you got. I can't wait until the John Cena heel turn YouTube special comes out, and it's just Dwayne explaining the whole thing away, and then Paul being like, "That's what we thought we could do with all this," because Dwayne came in and he wanted to change everything. It's just been bad. It just hasn't been good. I'm curious as to what happens with Money in the Bank, with SummerSlam. Everyone jumped on the CM Punk, Instagram story where he basically hinted at coming after John Cena, and we talked about it. We've talked about the idea of running it back at Money in the Bank, where you do CM Punk and John Cena. This time it's in LA. Cena gets to say, this time I'm going to take the world championship home because this is my backyard. I live in LA. I'm the Hollywood guy. Screw you. And then he goes through the crowd at the end. Like, there are ways that you can play with these stories. Whatever they did at Backlash with Orton they did the traditional main event for WWE when John Cena and Randy Orton were on top, where you do the slow methodical build, and then you knock out the referee and you just overbook everything. Shout out to this channel. It was just not very well done. And by the way, please tell me that this is a joke. Please tell me that this is sarcasm. The women's division is not stacked, and that's why they're letting go of people. If they were stacked, you would see a women's tag team division that actually exists. So please don't tell me that it's because they were stacked that they were let go. Just want to pull that out there. But going back to the whole John Cena and Randy Orton stuff, the match itself was, like I said, it was there. The outcome was never in doubt. It was always going to be John Cena wins. And I almost called the finish. I said, kick him in the dick, John, and let's go home. Well, he didn't kick him, but he certainly did low blow him. And then that was it. And that's the way it looks like we're going to see John Cena's heel persona have matches. He cheats to win. He's going to be the most corny heel possible.
It's generic heel A.
Because he was the corniest babyface possible towards the end of his run, or the middle and end of his run. He was always corny. He was always Super Cena. He was always the superhero the kids want to see. That is like, that's what he thinks people want to see from him. It's just, I don't know. It's not for me, especially in a world where we're talking about the shades of gray and everything, but John Cena, but also the idea of hardlining the shades of gray for like one specific person. Yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought. But just the idea here that like shades of gray only works for like one character, and that's whoever CM Punk is with, and that's it. and now Paul Heyman's trying to do it, and like it works to a certain degree. It doesn't work with John Cena, but John Cena can't get away with being generic heel. It just doesn't work. It's not good.
John Cena needs Paul Heyman or something to make this work for him, because the stuff he's doing ain't working at the moment. Cena in the Heyman group would actually be, I know that idea was floated, not like floated like internally, floated online after or before WrestleMania. People thought like, what if Heyman aligns with Seth? And then we find out Seth and Heyman are also working with The Rock, and they help John Cena, and that becomes a group. That would have been much better than this, because at least when Paul Heyman speaks, there's some conviction and there's some believability behind this stuff. And Paul Heyman is very good at explaining things and tying up loose ends. And Heyman could have done a great job with that in all of this. But now that's obviously not happening. Instead, we're getting these performances out of John Cena that we're kidding. Like it's not really all that good. The press conference was actually very funny because
No, the press conference thing was hilarious because it was someone had pointed out who was the actor that said that they're weird. Josh Peck,
yeah.
Yeah, he was like, it's weird because wrestling's not real and you're doing these press conferences. And a bunch of people jumped on Josh Peck being like, who are you? And it's like, first of all, shut up. Shut up. Second of all, like, he's right. Why are you booing him? He's right. And for anyone who's like, that was a weird press conference, it's like, I was in the room at Forbidden Door in Toronto when Jericho whacked a water bottle in front of Tony Khan, and they set up a match in Hamilton the next night. Like, it wasn't, and that was weird because again, that wasn't something that AEW was doing at the time. So like, it was kind of just expected at this point that they run an angle out of one of these things. It wasn't
AEW's done that in the past. It might have been Jericho and Cody at one of the early press conferences where somebody threw a water bottle. Maybe someone in the chat will remember. My memory is bad.
That was the Forbidden Door.
No, it wasn't.
No, you're
I'm talking much earlier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm talking like first 4 events AEW. Yeah,
Jericho,
they set up.
I'm starting shit after the show.
Yeah, that was always Jericho's bit, is he would do stuff at the press conferences. I'm pretty sure it was with Cody. Was it Sting? That was the Forbidden Door
that's
thing.
The one we're talking about. Yeah, that's the Forbidden Door one when they set up the tag with Sting and Darby against Jericho and Sammy Guevara.
Yeah, I'm thinking even before that they did something. I'm pretty sure it was Jericho. Maybe I'll actually do some research on this show and find it.
I felt bad for Darby at that one. Because Darby, that was one where Sting and Darby are sitting at the dais and like nobody wants to ask Darby a question. Everyone just wants to ask Sting questions. I'm like, I want to ask Darby a question. And then Jericho comes in and ruins it.
Yeah. So anyway, this press conference that happened, like John Cena doing that was fine. And he's like, I gotta have a better relationship with the media. And then it gets interrupted by R-Truth, and he puts R-Truth to a table. Sure. It was okay. So here's who it was. It wasn't Jericho. I apologize to Jericho. It was Pac and Hangman Page. It was after All Out. Pac came in and like he did something. So he set up Pac and they set up Pac and Hangman Page. So that's what it was. But yeah, that was first show. That was All Out. So yeah, I knew they did something in like one of the very early ones. They did a press conference gimmick. There you go. There's for people who for research purposes. Them doing this press conference.
You're good. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Them doing this press conference on this. I don't have an issue with it. But at the same time, I'm just like, just don't do these fucking things. Like, these press conferences, they don't accomplish anything. They just don't. And I'm saying this from, don't say I'm wrong, Zeno Hour. I was correct on this. I guess I wasn't correct that it was Chris Jericho. I thought it was. In fairness, Chris Jericho won the AEW World title that night. He was a big part of that show. But I was correct in saying that it was an early thing that where they set it up. That's my point. I'm not saying this as someone who like dislikes covering these press conferences, which for the most part I do because they are way too long and they just, it's whatever. They don't accomplish anything. They just don't. Like, no offense to anybody there who asks questions. We maybe get one good question every, I don't know, every 3 press conferences.
What's up, legend?
Like that might be a little, maybe that's giving too much credit, but we just don't get.
Sorry, what constitutes a good question in your eyes? Because there are some good questions and there are some silly questions that we get some work out of.
A question that provides an informational answer.
Okay.
I don't think we get a ton of those.
So Becky coming out at WrestleMania and telling the story about, like, Rue has a very important story to tell, and it's about the backyard, the raccoon, and all that, right?
Okay.
Is that considered a good?
No, nobody asked the question.
Yeah, she just came out and said it.
Yeah.
But again, we're talking about like things that were informational versus things that actually like got people engaged with our content or our website. That's kind of where I want to draw a line, or at least get the idea of what's important to you.
An informational wrestling answer. How about that?
Okay, that's fine.
I think the last time we got that was legitimately The Rock when he wanted to do his own press conference after SmackDown.
New Orleans, yeah.
Yeah, we actually got some information out of that because he said, he was like, oh yeah, we wanted to announce this at the Super Bowl. But things, I was like, oh, that's a real thing. Like, they were planning to announce this at the Super Bowl, but they didn't. That's legitimately the last time I remember like an actual informational answer. That was February. There's been plenty of press conferences since then. Like, I don't think we've had an informational question or informational answers since then. It's been, I've had to write a lot of stories on this stuff. I don't remember one where I was like, oh, that was like a cool, that was something good, and we got some information. Even look, I'll say this, Becky at WrestleMania. I don't think the questions were bad to her. I think Uchino asked like a good question. I think somebody else asked like a good question and everything. But even she wasn't given like informative. Thank you. I'm terrible with words. But even she wasn't given like a clean answer to this stuff. She was given like a kayfabe thing, like, I saw Lyra needed help, so I went in. Then what happens, Joel? What happens 2 hours before Backlash? She does a fucking interview with Variety and gives them the answer of, I was only planning to take 3 months off, and then I had a bunch of film stuff, and then I was going to come back at the Rumble. There were plans for the Rumble, but then I got diagnosed with a skin condition. Like, there's your real answer right there. She didn't give that at the press conference after WrestleMania, after her return. She did it in an interview with Variety. The press conference just don't yield anything.
So it's funny that you use the word yield because it's on multiple planes. They don't yield anything in terms of informative pieces or informative answers. They also don't yield the same number of eyeballs that a Variety interview would give. So yes, in that regard, there's almost no reason to do the press conferences. There's also fewer reasons to expect to get an answer with much substance at these press conferences, because you can just turn around and give it to Variety or give it to People or give it to one of the other entertainment rags that have more eyes from outside of wrestling specifically paying attention to it. Because you and I might be covering or attending these press conferences, but they're not like people aren't paying attention to us. People are going to pay attention to someone from one of the other aforementioned magazines that are going to get a full exclusive article and write up out of it with the photo spread and everything, where they're by the poolside and they're dressed all sexily, and then they talk about how they love the current president. They wanted to pay. Anyway, sorry, that was before WrestleMania. But the idea here being that they're going to gravitate towards where the eyeballs sit, and Becky's going to give those answers to where the eyeballs sit, not to a group of people sitting in a room asking questions for 10 minutes.
I'm just over these press conferences. Thank God for John Cena cutting them short. Need more of that.
It's true. Tapping Paul on the shoulder and just be like, get out. I need to talk. I need to be a leader. And that was it. Anyway, it's fine. We got a couple of super chats. Shall we get to them?
Yeah.
Then we can talk about the event themselves. Well, the other parts of the show. Tenruza sent a bunch saying, first of all, Brandon Thurston asks real questions, a real one. There are a bunch of people in that room that will ask, quote, real questions. It's just all about picking the spots and also what your beat is. We know what Brandon and John Pollock, we know what they talk about. We put them over on our show quite often. It comes down to what their beat is, and it also comes down to what their audience wants and what you as a viewer expect out of these events. That's just what it is. And they're not going to be at all of these events either. Tender's adding in the
Thurston should ask. Thurston should always ask, hey, when are you guys coming back to insert town here? Can't love those questions.
It should always be Buffalo. He should just always ask about Buffalo.
I swear they plant someone to ask that question. Every single press conference starts with whatever city, town they're in, and it's the same. Tell us how great it was being in insert town here for the week.
But you know what outlet they're from. They're always from the local paper or the local.
I don't pay attention to it. Just
nine times.
It's always the first question, though. It's always the first question.
Yeah, because they know who these people are. They have a pretty. That's like I'll put over the WWE PR machine team for one thing, and that is they're actually really good at like seeing your face and knowing who you are. Because especially on like. I'll use WrestleMania as an example. They're seeing you a lot. They are seeing the same people are sitting at the desks that are checking you in as any other time. And like they're familiar with your face and they're familiar with your outlet. So it's almost like, okay, we got to get this. We got to do this one, the local area question out of the way. And that's that. That's really all it is. But like, we're not going to ask when you're coming back to Toronto because we either know that that's not an answer you're going to get right away, or they might even announce it in the room before being asked about it. So just it's time to move on from the press conferences. Tinner's adding Batista's a better actor than John Cena. John Cena's corny AF. Do you agree with this, Jeremy?
I mean, Batista is a better actor than John Cena. I love John Cena, but Batista's like legitimately good as an actor.
Very well-rounded.
As far as Cena being corny, I mean, this heel run ain't done it for me. I'll say that again. Say this as a huge John Cena fan. I've not had too much interest in this heel run. Like he's had some decent promos. He's had some good promos. I don't say decent. Like a couple of the ones with Cody were good. I like the one where it's like, I was raising your children for 25 years. I thought that was a good spit back at Randy Orton. But yeah, the mannerisms and stuff just aren't doing it for me. Like that's where I think he comes off a little hokey of just like, oh, let me fight, and then let me do these terrible facial expressions. I think some of the promo work has been good, but the mannerism stuff sucks.
Except where he gets beat up at the go home to every single show.
Yeah, he just gets laid out, and then he sells for. He should just chill in the ring that entire time. Just laid out. They got to wrestle around them.
That should be the way to do it. Tender is adding, seems like a good time to say, go to All In. Good craps. Hey, man, if you're excited for All In, fantastic. I hope you make it. I hope you go. Tickets are there. They're on sale. But, you got to go where you're a fan. Right now, the bill to All In, it's moving. They're doing stuff. Hopefully, they stick the landing at the end of the day. And then also adding in, he says, Tenderza says, haven't been around, just sending love. # Reg is right. I mean, Reg is a lot of things. He is often right. Just depends what we're talking about specifically. But we do love Reg. And we're saying Joel hates All In. I do not. I'm not going to Texas. Put it like that. Meet Normus also sent a Humper Chat, which is something we don't normally take because Humper Chats. Well, I mean,
we don't get anything out of those.
Yeah, we Jeremy and I don't get anything out of this. but
shouldn't read it.
I shouldn't. So thank you thank you, Meet Normus. I will not be reading your comments. So, anyway. Actually, he says, morning, brubs. Vince already ruined wrestling. This Cena heel turn is lazy, uninspired booking, which is a hallmark of the Fed. Cena versus Truth is a Raw main event at best. Logan Paul versus Yeet Man makes me want to cancel Netflix. Well, I mean, Saturday night's main event isn't on Netflix, right? So you'd be all right with that. You don't need to cancel your Netflix account for that one.
Who is John Cena and R-Truth for? Legitimately. Is it for
John.
like the 50-year-olds?
It's for John, and it's for the people that have been saying, you know, oh, you got to do something with John Cena and R-Truth, but they took it a little too far because what it should have been was a beatdown for heat on John Cena. Instead, it's turning into a match for R-Truth because history. Is John Cena facing his demons? Is that what we're trying? Like, is this the idea? But now he's the bad guy, so the demons are actually his friends. Like, what is going on? What is the point of this?
Like, it's the John Cena R-Truth stuff is like funny. Yeah, I think R-Truth's fantastic. Again, I love John Cena. I feel like I'm trying to make it very clear that I love John Cena before I have to like kill him because like I really love you, but like I gotta put you down, dude.
Take an old Cena back behind the barn, are you?
I'm sorry, but like who is it for? Like for nostalgia? Like fine. Like we did Orton and Cena, and I was kind of okay with that just because a lot of history there. Like I can see it. St. Louis, like cool. Makes sense. And we do Cena and Miz next, so Cena can get his WrestleMania win back. Is this what we're doing? I don't know, man. It's John Cena's last run. You have him as a heel. Your best ideas are a decade-old feud with Randy Orton that wasn't that great in the first place. And John Cena and R-Truth stuff, like R-Truth, who is the ultimate comedy act. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but like you've got John Cena as a friggin' heel, and this is your best work. Here, I'm gonna make people upset with this. I'm so sorry. I'm about to make people upset with this. I apologize. You guys can cancel me right now. I know this is going to upset people. Imagine if they turned Hulk Hogan heel, and coming out of that, they did the Roddy Piper feud, which they actually did, and then after that, they had him feud with Disco Inferno. That's what this is. Hulk Hogan and Disco Inferno. I'm sorry. Cancel me. I get it. That's what they're doing here. That is John Cena and R-Truth. It is a comedy act against what should have been the biggest heel in decades for wrestling.
It should be that John Cena is being sent these opponents by The Rock. The Rock's like, just helping you out, buddy. R-Truth, that was all me, pal. And then that's how we get The Rock back in WWE. He's going to send him The Miz. He's going to send him R-Truth. He's going to send him, I don't know, Gene Snitsky. It wasn't his fault, but it's definitely The Rock's fault that Gene Snitsky got a payday that day. I don't know what the point is. I don't. It's just, it exists on this meaningless plane.
They need CM Punk to save this thing. Because at least with Punk, I know we're going to get, much like Heyman, we're going to get some convictions with his words. We're going to get some loose ends tied up for the most part. And we're going to get fire out of CM Punk. And Cena has shown throughout history he can punch back at that. So they need CM Punk right now because what they've done so far and stuff with R-Truth, just Ain't it? It ain't it.
It's a Saturday night's main event match with everything we said about Saturday night's main event, by the way, when this all started. We said they're going to do a big first one, and then you're going to see a slow decline in quality of the event. And that's what's been happening. It's Battle of the Belts. It's Saturday night's main event before, the other times they've run it. You do a big hot first one, and then eventually they just kind of sink into what they are. The big news behind this is just the fact that John Cena is going to be on the show. And that'll be enough for some people to just move the tickets. That's fine. They'll sell the tickets. But for those of us who are watching at home and who are covering this stuff and who unfortunately are in the bubble, the vocal minority, as they love to say, we're looking at it and we're just like, ugh, what is the point of this?
Like the match, it's not even that it's probably going to be short. I'm supposed to believe that R-Truth, who I'm not even sure he's wrestled in a year, much less won a match.
Okay, hold on. So I can do this one. The last match that he won was against Ludwig Kaiser on main event. Before that, it was that was January 27th, 2025. Before that, December 2nd, 2024, he beat Pete Dunne. Now let's fast forward. Mello beat Truth on a SmackDown in February 2025. Then they did the tag match LA Knight and R-Truth versus Mello and Miz. That one was Mello and Miz won. And then he was in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. So R-Truth has been on screen wrestling, just hasn't been successful. So
wait, no, he hasn't. He hasn't in a match since February. That's not on-screen wrestling.
He was in the Andre the Giant.
I'm not counting that.
I'm counting it. He was on TV. He did.
Everybody was in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
There were quite a few people, but it was still part of the show. It was still there. The point is here for the next 2 weeks.
It's still been a month.
Yes, it's been less than a month. It'll be a month on the 18th. But they're gonna start giving R-Truth like little beat 'em up wins. Like he's gonna beat somebody.
I don't think they are.
He's gonna beat like Berto.
I don't think he's gonna beat anybody. I think they're just gonna do the match. I don't care about wins and losses.
It's true. Look at Pat McAfee and Gunther.
They're just gonna do a match. Yeah, they give McAfee like some wins heading into the Gunther match.
That's because he's special. He gets his wins by putting over talent on the microphone. It's again, this is why Saturday night's main event just doesn't exist. It's best that you just don't let it exist anymore in your brain.
When was the last singles match R-Truth had on TV? I'm not counting main event. Do not count main event.
I said Raw in December.
No, you didn't let me finish my statement, Joel. Let me finish my statement. When was the last singles match R-Truth had on TV that went over 5 minutes?
So that's a tough one.
Okay, I found it. It's Damian Priest, March 2024. That went 8 minutes.
Okay, that counts.
Lost. Yeah, it counts. He lost.
Of course he loses. He's a big old loser.
No interest in R-Truth. Fine comedy act. Fine act. Like no issues when R-Truth is on screen. If this is your world title program for John Cena in his final year after the biggest heel turn ever, somebody fucked up.
Truth also lost a year because he got injured on NXT. That was 2023 or 2022.
Yeah,
that took him a year out.
Yeah.
And then he was back on for the Miracle on 34th Street fight. He was facing JD McDonough a bunch. That was another thing that was weird. Anyway, there's no reason for it. It's just gonna happen. It's just gonna be what it is. He's gonna kick him in the dick. John Cena's gonna kick R-Truth in the dick, get the AA, and that'll be it. And that'll bring out Goldberg. There was a split second, I swear to God, on Saturday, and I tweeted this out. There was a split second when John Cena delivered that promo where he's like, someone's got to get on my level or someone's got to pick up or whatever. I was like, oh my God, is this the Goldberg match? And then they fade to black. I was like, all right, we're good. there was a split second where I was like, are they going to do Goldberg and John Cena in the year of our Lord 2025? Let's go. This is dumb.
At least that is like Oh, you know what? That's like a historic kind of match. We haven't seen Goldberg and John Cena before, have we? They've never wrestled.
I don't think so, because I think the crossover was weird.
Oh yeah, it was. But Goldberg came in before Cena was super hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Goldberg left at 20, and 20 was just when Cena won the world title or the US title from Big Show.
Yeah, they were in the Rumble 2004 together. That was it.
Yeah. So and they haven't like that would at least be something intriguing, something new, something different. It's still two older guys who you should probably still find something a little bit better, but Goldberg's at least got some cachet as freaking Goldberg and a monster out there. I wouldn't hate that idea because it's something different. Like we're not getting different right now. We're getting a feud that we saw decades ago, and we're getting him against Comedy Act. In a feud we saw decades ago.
I like the idea of John Cena beating R-Truth in like 2 minutes and then calling out Goldberg, being like, I beat this old man so I can beat another old man. Bill Goldberg, you're next. And that's the build for John Cena and Goldberg. I think it's still Gunther and Goldberg. I've been saying this from the rooftops. And that's the Saudi match. They announced that they're going to go back to Saudi Arabia. They announced at the end of June. They'll be back. And I've been saying it since the Goldberg match was announced that he was coming for one more. And I said, man, I hear Saudi Arabia in June is beautiful. And nobody got it. And that's what I was talking about. It's it. Goldberg's going to Saudi Arabia, baby. Taking on.
I don't think Gunther. He is, but that's fine.
We'll see. But that's where I think we're doing it. Yeah, the John Cena thing. They're slowly proving to us that they need better options than what they've presented. So we'll see. Gray's asking about the Evolution show. Someone had asked Sean about a Fanatics post, like a job posting that went out, and I think Sean's looking into it. It was in Atlanta, the Fanatics posting, and it was about Evolution. So they were looking for people to work an Evolution Evolution store. So that's being looked into. It was a very interesting kind of post. It's public on Twitter, so I'm not talking out of school here. But who knows what's going on with Evolution? I don't think. I mean, I think the show should happen. I don't think it's been canceled per se, but we'll see. Goldberg versus John Cena, though. That's it. Let's do it. Saturday night's main event in Atlanta, Georgia. I doubt it. SmackDown, real quick. Charlotte came out. Your favorite. She got booed.
Nah.
Hashtag booed down. And then meanwhile, on the other side of the coin, Alexa Bliss showed up because they're in Ohio. She is an Ohioan. Huge pop for her return. Why do I mention both in the same breath? Charlotte is walking around backstage. She's going to her car. She's pissed off. And then Alexa Bliss is right there to say we should have a chat. What is the chat that's about to happen?
She's going to place the crown on her head, and then it's going to rain down the black goo onto Charlotte, and Charlotte is going to be possessed. Could you imagine a possessed Charlotte Flair? The acting that would go into this from Charlotte. I'd tune in every week just for this. Just to see how Charlotte Flair pulls off a role that is not woo me or boo me. That's all I want.
Does she get a mask? Do they do a full mask, or is it just yeah? She's Wide 6 featuring Charlotte Flair.
Yeah,
the Charlotte 6.
She should run the group. People get so mad at that.
Meet Norm is asking if they brought back the Lily doll. I told y'all they brought back the Lily doll when Alexa came back at the Rumble. They had the Lily dolls at the WrestleMania Superstore. That shit sold out. Those Lily dolls, they get picked up like that. When I went to SummerSlam in Vegas, they refilled those carts every day, 3 times a day. They sold those stupid dolls. They loved it. Yes, call the group Charlotte's Web. They already have a pig.
I need Charlotte leading some supernatural group. Charlotte and Allie Black put them together. Let them do just dumb supernatural stuff together. That's what I want.
I'm all about it. Let's go. I saw them together. I thought, first of all, Alexa coming out and being Zelina Vega's partner was like so strange and random. And then putting Charlotte and Alexa Bliss together on the same screen as they're supposedly doing something with Alexa and the Wyatt Six stuff, but we don't know. Just like the idea of Alexa still being involved with this while also dealing with Charlotte, who was just this really upset something, it's really funny to me. So I'm curious as to where they go through with it. Put a crown of thorns on her head. Let Charlotte be the queen, but like the evil queen. Not like the Disney evil queen, like scary ass evil queen, like the story time books you weren't supposed to read as a kid. That's what she should do. Does this lead to her winning a championship? Maybe the US title for Charlotte Flair?
Charlotte, nah, she needs titles. She always needs titles. Charlotte should have she should be like Spider-Woman. And she should just like throw spiders at people, and that's how she wins.
Different Spider-Woman than I thought. Sorry. That we were going Marvel. You went weird.
Well, they'll get sued by Marvel. Can't do that.
What are you talking about? WWE is just like Marvel if you speak to certain people.
We're not trying to get sued here. No, she just like throws spiders at people. Who had the Rowan? Remember he had the tarantula and it got crushed.
Drew McIntyre crushed this tarantula. Yeah.
Maybe Charlotte. This is how we get Charlotte with the Wyatt Six. Charlotte, because she is Charlotte Webb, she can revive the spider. Like she comes across it backstage and she's like, "Oh, what has happened here? This poor spider has been crushed." And Charlotte revives it. She just like magically heals it because she has all these powers now thanks to Alexa Bliss. Just touching Alexa Bliss has given her these powers. I don't even know if they touch, but just being in the presence of Alexa Bliss or after she gets the crown put on her head and it rains the black goo on her, she sees this spider and she just performs a ritual and the spider comes back alive. And Rowan, camera cuts over to Rowan. He's there with, he has the mallet, right? He's there and the Wyatt Six are all right there, right? And they see Charlotte revive the spider and they all just drop to their knees and they bow. Queen, queen, queen. And Charlotte is like, "Up, you are my new group. You are my new, what's the word for these people? Cult? I don't want to say cult.
You're the Queen's Court right here.
Queen's Court. That's good. Okay.
Yeah.
You are my new Queen's Court." And they start just uplifting her. And this is the group now. Charlotte Flair with the Wyatt Six. And then Alexa gets jealous down the line. Alexa, at some point, they win the women's tag team titles. It's all great together. Charlotte and Alexa. Charlotte. Okay. I like that. They win the women's tag team titles. Charlotte gets one of the women's world titles because, of course, and Alexa gets the other. They're just two-man power tripping spooky shit all over both shows because you got to put all of them on both shows. And then Alexa gets jealous. Like at some point, years down the line, I got years of stories for these two. Years down the line, Alexa starts to get jealous of all of this stuff. And that's when the turn comes. And it's the biggest turn in wrestling history. Bigger than Hulk Hogan, bigger than John Cena. Alexa turns. Main event, WrestleMania 43. Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, both nights. They're headlining both nights.
Both nights. Best 2 out of 3 falls. Is that what we're doing?
No, because then they would need 3 nights. You know what? They expand. They expand to 3 nights.
Just for this.
Three stages of hell. Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss. 3 nights. WrestleMania is what we're running at WrestleMania 43. Give me the pencil.
That's it. What are the 3 stages of hell?
It's just hell.
It's just hell. What is it? Is it an inferno match?
It gets hotter every stage. The first night, it's like 100 degrees. The second night, it's like 120 degrees. That third night, though, oh shit. It's like 250 degrees out there.
So you're
just
basically
straight hell.
So you're basically saying like night 1 is in Saudi in like the morning. Night 2 is Saudi in the evening. Night 3 is actually day 3, and it's Saudi at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon when the sun is at its peak.
Now they got like heaters. They got like space heaters above the ring to like.
There's no reason for this.
All the heat.
There's no reason for this. We're in a desert. This is awful. I'm all about it. I like the idea. They do a steel cage match, but it's a steel box-like structure.
Oh, hell yeah.
The winner comes out with the crown on fire.
This is what we're running, everybody. Charlotte and Alexa. 3 stages of actual hell. WrestleMania 43. 3 nights. 3-night main event. Take that.
What's funny is that this could actually be a main event at a WrestleMania because these 2 women are so damn popular. Like, crowd would go for
never
it.
Let the main event. If I had the pencil, this is what we would main event. Why don't I have the ROH pencil with ideas like this?
That's exactly why.
What else are they doing on ROH? They're not doing any fun stuff.
They're doing the women's pure championship. Shout out to Deanna.
Pure championship.
Wins a match and then goes to Vegas and is still in a poker competition. Good for her.
The women's pure championship. It's a gimmicky title that they don't use correctly. I would never have a pure championship on my show.
You would have a nonsense championship on your show. Like the digital media championship.
I would love to book TNA. TNA won't hire me though.
No, that's okay. Give it time. They might.
ROH needs something, right? They ain't going anywhere. They're just
Allegedly.
they still want their TV deal that's never gonna come. Like I get them a TV deal with this stuff. I care about this honor. The honor ain't working. Let's change it up a little bit, you know?
The impure championship. That's most of professional wrestling already. It's okay.
What's another H word that we can use? I don't want to say like Ring of Hell, but you know, we got to keep the ROH name. What's like a good H word?
You turn it on its head and it's Ring of Hype.
Hype?
Yeah. Why? You let Mojo Rawley have the pencil?
No, I have the pencil.
He's just the on-screen GM because it's the Ring of Hype.
I would actually like Mojo as the on-screen GM. He'd be fun. I like
Ring of Hypnosis, and it's actually just a bunch of people swinging clocks in front of your face.
Heinous is good. Hallucinations, okay.
People do like saying anus.
It's not hate. I'm not running like hateful stuff, you know.
Yeah, there already is Ring of Hate. Plenty of YouTubers out there doing that.
And I'm not running like hatred stuff. I like hallucinations. Is pretty good. Ring of Hallucinations, because that's what you're gonna feel when you're watching this show. You know what? Here's how we get people in the building, Joel. I'll get canceled for this one.
Let's go.
Drugs. You get into the building and you go to the ROH show, whatever, or not the ROH show. You go to the AEW show. Oh, cool, Death Riders, I guess. You know, people maybe like Death Riders. Cool. Here's Swerve Strickland, great. And then the lights go down, right? And then here's Mojo Rawley, our GM, and he says, "Everybody, look under your chair. There's a Molly pill. Get ready for Ring of Hallucinations." And you take the drug, and then you get my ROH coming out of that.
Ring of Ham, but it's actually
this will get people to stick around. We're just passing out Molly after the AEW show.
Good Lord, this feels like a problem. Ring of Hair. It's just you're wrestling on hair now. Oh God, Ring of MDMA.
All the online reviews of ROH are going to be so good. It's like I was gonna leave after AEW was done, but then they just handed me drugs. I was like, shit, I'll stay now.
Ring of Hops, and it's just a bunch of bunnies.
Ring of Hallucinations, and we're giving out drugs after AEW for our ROH tapings.
So suddenly Collision got a whole lot better. So they found out that the MDMA is actually under the chairs at the beginning of the show, and they just went for it.
No. See, that's why course corrected.
You got to pass them out at the end.
Yeah, we're gonna pass it out for the people who stay. If you don't stay, you don't get it. So you got to stay, and we'll pass it out to you.
What about Ring of Harley Graham?
I would do so many great things with Harley Cameron in Ring of Hallucinations. She'd be the ace, man. She'd be the ace of the company.
Right. Oh God. Who's doing the post show for this? Can't be Jeremy because he's running the game.
I'll do the post show from backstage.
You'll do the post show press conference of every episode.
Well, I can because it's a taped show. You know what I mean? So we're not running live.
You can tape the press conferences. It'll just be questions you answer.
I will 100% do these press conferences for after the post show instead of Tony. Tony can have the night off. I'll answer your dumb questions for the show.
Where's Renee? Renee, I need your help for a minute.
Malcolm's gonna ask me my Waffle House order. I'm like, I don't know, Malcolm, you want to take some Molly and go to Waffle House? We'll figure it out.
He'd do it.
Me and the Good Brothers. The Good Brothers I'd book the territory around them too. They'd have some great ideas. They'd be running the Talking Shop of Mania stuff. Oh, me and the Good Brothers collaborating.
Carl, well, hold on. Carl's sober now. You gotta respect
fine.
it. All right, okay.
I'm not gonna break any sobriety or anything.
Ring of sobriety.
This spots me. That is a great idea, by the way.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah. I would love Kevin Nash in commentary for this shit. That's my favorite commentary ever, when he just does Old Glory. You know, he calls that mic the Old Glory elbow. If that was Hacksaw Jim Duggan doing that, that would be the Old Glory shoulder tackle.
How did we get on this? All right, Charlotte and Alexa.
Yeah, Charlotte and Alexa spiraled into Ring of Hallucinations.
Only on the show. Oh God!
I'm gonna pitch all this stuff to Macklin on Wednesday. I don't know why he's on our show.
Yes, for some reason, Jeremy told us last night Macklin on Wednesday, and I'm like, why? We just talked to him. Like, who gave us Macklin again? Wasn't our call.
I think Macklin just likes us for some reason until I start doing all this stuff. Like, Steve, here's my idea for the Ruffian people in TNA. He loves this shit.
That's true. we gotta talk to him about the Ruffian gimmick.
Here's my idea, Steve. I'll build the company around Tiana, her and Harley. Are you kidding me?
Hell yeah.
That's selling out stadiums right there.
So excited to talk to Macklin again for what has to be the 17th time.
We love Macklin.
Of course. Oh God, it's gonna be very funny. It's like the 3 times a year where he actually watches our show. Let's hit a couple of super chats. Tenders is saying, Jeremy, it was for the Survivor Series 2011 tag match. That's going back to Cena and R-Truth.
That's what I'm saying. Decade-old match.
That's right. Got to bring him back.
This is your best idea. Stop.
Capital punishment. That's right. You got to bring in more ways than one. Ryan Lambert saying, does Cena versus JBL happen in AAA, TNA, or MLW? Should happen in all 3. It should be a best of 3. And JBL wins. Because he's got to, right? Yeah. He's gonna own the company. And Temruza sent a super chat saying, I'll say that my sister thinks people are stupid for enjoying WWE from all sides, backstage, on screen. She's in HR. She thinks they're trash. I think anyone who likes wrestling is trash, but that's just me. And that includes me. So, shout out to the trash people.
Oh, Xeno Hour. That's my favorite show of all time. I would run so much Wire storylines on this. That's actually a good idea.
And it's great because ROH was based in Baltimore for so long.
Ring of Amsterdam. Oh shit. We actually just figured it all out. And forget the hallucinations. Ring of Amsterdam, baby. Oh, hell yeah. All right.
You got
Give
it.
me the pencil.
Oh, man. By the way, shout out to Body Slam. They confirmed that former Cora Jade, now known back as Elena Black, she's going to have her first match since leaving WWE and NXT July 27th at the Ocean Center in Daytona Beach, Florida for Atomic Legacy Wrestling. There you go.
July 27th?
July 27th.
Okay, hold on. I'll vamp for a second. I'm gonna.
Okay. Well, anyway, she's going to be back, and they haven't announced her opponent yet, but they're going to be at the Ocean Center Arena in Daytona Beach, Florida. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be good to see her. You know, she's landed on her feet. She knows what she's doing. Did you find what you were looking for?
That will not be her first match back.
Oh, wonderful. Well, they've announced that is something that she's doing.
Okay.
They're saying the first announced match since departing.
Fair. That will not be her first match.
That won't be the first match.
Probably won't be even close to it. Here's a scoop.
Oh boy, here we go.
Cora Jade, June 14th. There you go. That's all.
I have a feeling I know who it is too, so that's good.
Do you? Do you want to put it in private chat and I'll tell you?
We'll see if I'm right about it, but hold on.
Like what company it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see.
Oh, jeez.
No? Okay. Because that's a former homestead of hers.
No.
Anyway, they also teased Shotzi in MLW.
Yes.
So looking forward to the potential of that happening. So listen, people know that I love Shotzi. Looking forward to where she lands next, but it looks like MLW might be one of those stops along the way. Jeff Cobb made his debut in WWE this past weekend as well, for those who, I don't know, got buried with all the other news of the weekend. But Jeff Cobb, officially part of the roster, officially on the show. He is a member of the non-existent bloodline. But he's now working with Solo Sikoa, and Jacob Fatu is not happy to see him. Does Jeff Cobb and Jacob Fatu, have they been to Waffle House together? Sorry, that was a different conversation. Do they have a history? Have they faced each other?
Jeff Cobb and Jacob Fatu?
Yeah.
Yeah, on the indies.
They have. Okay. So there is at least some sort of familiarity that they could pull from, hypothetically.
Yeah, they've definitely I mean, I'll double check myself, but like I feel pretty confident.
Yeah. They were in a war chamber together, for Christ's sake. Yeah. Wait, were they?
They've teamed together as well. So yeah.
Yeah, Defy, they did a no contest, and they've done other stuff. Wait, why do they have War Chamber together? Hold on. Was he Sentai Death Squad?
No, he was Montaza. He was he was
Matanza. Oh, Matanza.
Yeah.
You're right. Sorry. Yeah. I was having a minute. Well, there you go. It's time. Jeff Cueto. Jeff Matanza Cobb. Matanza Cobb. There it is. I think he's going to stay as Jeff Cobb. They've announced that he is Jeff Cobb on the show. They usually don't pivot from that very quickly.
Did they announce?
Yeah, they said that's hot free agent Jeff Cobb. So it feels like Jeff will be, and his finisher will be corn on the cob.
I don't think that's.
No, that probably won't be the thing, but No. So Solo's bloodline is just Pacific Islanders. Dudes from Guam.
They do announce him as Jeff Cobb on the WWE website. So
yeah,
for those keeping track of things on WWE.com, he is listed as Jeff Cobb, and I see the YouTube video. Yeah, they have him as Jeff Cobb on YouTube because obviously there was, with Ricky, it was all, who is this? What's his name? They didn't actually use Ricky Starks, so yeah, I imagine he stays as Jeff Cobb then, if that's what they're doing.
He's Trill London. Congratulations.
That might be JC. I know people are speculating it's JC Mateo, but they are using Jeff Cobb for the time being. We'll see if it actually gets changed.
Yeah, I don't see a reason to change it, but that's just me. JC Mateo is probably for one of the newest. You know what? We did this last time. JC Mateo Instagram. And then we found out who it was. Oh, I got to log into my Instagram again. This is horseshit. You turn off your computer one time and you got to suddenly log in again. Let me guess, 2FA too? Do I have to get a password? This is great. This is riveting. Security code. Give me a second. Nobody try to log in for me. This could be a problem.
I feel like I can just do this a lot quicker.
Yeah, you probably could. It's nice of you to offer to do that.
There's a JC Mateo who is not a wrestler. I don't see JC Mateo WWE. Let's see if there's anything. No, it's just trademark and all this stuff. I don't see anything to where it's
like the rapper.
No.
Okay.
It doesn't look like anybody is using it. So no.
Okay. Well, we'll see. JC Mateo. Such a strange name.
Yeah.
Carlos Mateo. Anyway, I'm done. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see who it turns out to be. I was going to say, give us your social security. Well, I'm also a Canadian, so we don't have social security numbers. Although the lady at the bank was surprised that I had my social insurance number with me in my wallet the other day. But I just told her that's the way it goes, baby. You got to keep everything. No, I don't know. I had it with me for an appointment. Anyway, yeah, Jeff Cobb. We'll see where he goes. We know Mina Shirakawa is AEW bound. She was part of that show that you and SB3 are going to talk about tomorrow, I'm sure. The New Japan Resurgence show.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what I got to leave scraps for SB3 and talk about Mercedes Moné losing a title without being pinned. Because that's the thing you do now. Put champions and all creative control Moné. No, I don't think that's actually a thing. Instead, she dropped the New Japan Women's Strong title to Azumi, and Mina Shirakawa was also in the match. Looks like they can play on Mercedes and Mina a little bit in AEW. Let that happen, but it's good. Mercedes and freaking out after she lost that title without actually losing it. She was a step away from saying this referee's trying to fuck on me. You saw it. It was close. She blamed the referee. She should have just got right into it. Is there anything else from Backlash that we got to talk about?
Every match had interference.
Oh, okay. Here's one. Going back to Pat McAfee and Gunther. My favorite part of the match is actually the beginning when Michael Cole is like, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in my career, I am going to be biased. I'm like, so we're just going to ignore that whole timeline where you sat in a big box, talk shit about wrestlers, got yourself into a Mania match. We're just going to ignore that whole year-long saga, are we? All right, you do you, Michael Cole. You deserve this. That shit was hilarious to me.
I was thinking, like, dude, you were biased the entire Bloodline storyline. What are we talking about here?
So stupid. Michael Cole versus Gunther at SummerSlam.
I thought Michael Cole was about to kick the shit out of Gunther. He should have. Honestly, that spot did roll when he pulled Gunther's leg and nearly got the pin. That was fantastic. The match was good. I would have preferred some sort of squash because I thought it would have served Gunther a little bit more. But you got to give McAfee his hope spots. McAfee's obviously an athlete and everything. He's not fully out of his depth or anything. And then Gunther wins. The Michael Cole involvement was fun, and the crowd came up for it. It was a fun match.
It was fine. I just would have not spent so much time on it. The Michael Cole just being a part of that match was hilarious. The missed opportunity was doing the SummerSlam 2000 finish, doing the candy jar.
Yeah, but they weren't going to have Gunther lose.
Yeah, but I mean, you still could have done it. Maybe you could have missed and hit. They just should have brought it back.
Nah,
maybe Gunther powers through it.
I like how they the spot that they did on that. It was good.
Didn't punt Gunther in the dick, so I'm very upset.
Gunther doesn't want that smoke against.
That's true. He punted him in the back instead. But then, what did you make of the handshake afterwards? Was that weird to you? Gunther showing some respect to Pat McAfee? Was that you got in here and you tried, even though you lost, you big loser?
Yeah, it was just you've earned my respect. I probably wouldn't have done it. I probably would have had Gunther kick the shit out of him some more to get some heel heat and everything. But they don't care about making heels. They want SP3 says all the time, moment merchants. They want to create moments, and that's that.
So what, on Monday tonight does he come out and just beat the shit out of Michael Cole and Pat McAfee again?
No.
Everything old is new again?
He probably just says Promo just says, "Hey, I beat you. Time to move on." And Pat McAfee's like, "All right," and that's it.
He put on a great performance, but he couldn't beat the ring general. And then he just looks over at Pat, and Pat's like, "Shout out to you, big man. You're a big son of a bitch." And then everyone's just like, "Yeah," and then that's it. They squash the beef.
And it should have been a squash. I don't disagree with any of that. I said that leading up to it. Like, it should be a squash. But for what they were going for, I thought it worked. Do I think that's what they should have gone for? No. But for what they were going for, it worked.
Fair enough. Lyra beats Becky. That was a good match. I thought it was really, really strong stuff.
That was a really good match.
These two know how to wrestle. They know each other very well. Thought that was one of the strongest matches of the night, if not the strongest match of the night. And again, I did not think Lyra would lose. What I did think would happen was not just a mostly clean victory. I mean, it was a roll-up victory, but it was still clean, I guess. But
that was the only friggin' match that was clean.
Interference. You're right. There was no interference. What I think, just any return from Bayley or anything like that didn't happen. I think SP3 and I were talking about it on Friday, kind of giving the who's going to come back, who's not going to come back. And I think we had landed on Becky being like the only return. Sorry, Bayley being the only kind of return for that night. And then it turned out to not be the case. It was Jeff Cobb's debut. That was the only moment that really mattered in terms of comebacks or returns or anything like that. No Cody either. The main event match was sponsored.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
That was also like, because again, I saw the Wheatley vodka promo on the sides, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. But no, there was no Cody. He's just hanging out at home or on the bus. Around the venue.
After seeing his promo, I was like, is this how they're going off the air with this, like, John Cena, last real world champion? Soak it in, drink it in. He said, drink it in.
Yeah. So Jericho's coming, is what you're saying.
Oh, yeah, that's what I said. I hope it's
could you imagine?
I hope it's Chris Jericho.
That deal's almost up. When did he resign? Wasn't that like August?
It was December. No,
it was December. I thought it was August for some reason.
Yeah.
Could be hilarious. That's
Cena's last match.
Cena's last match is against Chris Jericho, and Jericho gets the win, beats Cena, and that young pup Chris Jericho is world champion once again. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Was there anything else? And then the Intercontinental Championship match happened. It was fine. Another distraction finish.
More interference, yeah.
Yeah. Shall we preview Raw for tonight and then get on out of here, unless you have other things to talk about?
I don't think so. Good.
What's happening on Raw tonight? CM Punk is back. Oh, the king of the Lucas. Who is going to be the new Lucas King?
Like, it's Lexus King's brother, right?
Lucas King?
Like, yeah. I think that's what they're gonna do.
I was so tempted to like tweet Zoe Lucas, it's your time, because she's a great wrestler and I love her very much. But like that was just like, I feel like this is gonna get lost on a lot of people. So I don't know who the king of the Lucas is, but it's very silly.
It's Lucas King. That's who it's gonna be.
Lucas King. It sounds awful. I'm all for it. Where is this Raw preview? Here it is. Oh man. People saying no love for Becky versus Lyra. We talked about that.
That sounds the best match on the show.
Yeah, we talked about it.
It's a great match.
Will, catch up. Yeah, it's Luca from the D'Angelo family. It's his new gimmick. That's actually the first thing I thought about.
Okay. All right,
but then it's got to be Lucas, right? Regardless, I'm pretty sure it's part of the Lucas, the stadium.
I'm pretty sure Oh, is that what it is? Oh, Lucas Oil?
Yeah, because they're doing like all the stuff in Indianapolis, right? That's a part of their big deal.
Yeah, that's not till like next year.
Well, didn't it start with the Rumble? Wasn't that like the first kickoff of the deal?
Yeah. Dude, I thought they just mistyped luchas. Like I thought they just forgot the H. They've done that in the past, by the way. Like they've had like typos on trademarks. I legitimately think that's what it is. Like tomorrow we're gonna find out there's a filing for King of the Luchas, and they're like, oh yeah, they just submitted a clerical error.
I prefer King of the Lucas. It's King of the Ring, but they're all named Lucas.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for letting me bomb that joke. Raw tonight, Louisville, Kentucky. Watch it on Netflix. KFC Yum Center. So get your KFC buckets out. It's 2017 December, and a young Julia Hart is sitting at ringside at the pay-per-view eating KFC. You can go back and find that over on the Netflix, I guess, because it's not on WWE Network.
Okay.
Do you remember that?
No, no. What?
No, there's photographic evidence. She's sitting at a table eating KFC, like part of a promotional spot. It's very strange. I was like, what is this? What is this little girl doing sitting at a table eating KFC? Penta takes on Chad Gable. That is a match that's happening because El Grande Americano got involved in the Intercontinental Championship match. So Chad Gable's coming to Americano's defense. Right?
Okay.
That's all it is. Okay. Jey Uso is going to be on the show. I assume that Mr. Logan Paul isn't too far behind. Maybe, probably.
Jey Uso is going to be like 1 word, 4 letters. Ooh,
eat, and then they do that, and then he's going to come down, and then they're going to do the one more time. He's going to look at the camera and just like, one more time.
I like Jey.
And then they'll have to do the eat again. CM Punk's going to come out. I'm sure something with him and Seth Rollins is on the table. So that's fine.
He's going to speak. Punk promo should be good.
How does it feel to be alive in Louisville, Kentucky on a Monday night? Louisville's just like, you been to our town? Not great. Have you seen Kentucky? Io Sky and Rhea Ripley team up to take on Roxanne Perez and Julia. It's cool. Rhea Ripley is working more television shows. That's nice to see. So that could be the main event. But also it could be AJ Styles and Finn Balor. Because it's 2016 again.
What's the DQ match here? AJ old, Finn loses old.
War Raiders and American Made.
Oh, no, they're not gonna end that match in a DQ.
Yeah, I feel like they might with New Day, and then they just turn it into a multi-team match for Saturday night's main event.
Hold on. During today's NBC upfronts, it was announced that a new WWE produced show starring Braun Strowman would debut on USA Network this fall. Everything on the Menu with Braun Strowman.
Feels like something that's already been taped.
Well, yeah. Did they not realize that this was? Did they not realize this was on the menu when they released him?
No way. Ain't no way. Each episode joined WWE legend Braun Strowman as he eats his way across America while on the road with WWE, ordering everything on every menu and trying to down every last bite. Everything on the Menu with Braun Strowman is produced by WWE Studios and Bright North Studios. I remember hearing about this show being produced.
Yeah, I did too.
Also, food eating legend Braun Strowman is just not what I would do. But sure. Hungry Braun over here.
Did they not realize this was the thing when they released him?
Maybe they saw the first cut and were just like, well, more of this ain't getting picked up.
What?
Well, they did this. Didn't they do this with AJ Francis too? Didn't they release him in the middle of his A&E deal?
I don't remember if it was in the middle of it.
Maybe it was afterwards.
Yeah, I think it was after. And then they just got a new host for the second season. But
does this mean we can reach out to Braun and have him, do our show and talk about everything on the menu?
I don't. I'm just asking what was the choo-choo train? When did that become on the menu? It's the only question I want answered from Braun Strowman. I don't care about any other question.
I mean, now we could do it, although I feel like Braun's going to be like, you won't talk to me. It's $150.
I don't know.
I ain't paying $150 for a train scoop. Sorry, buddy. Nobody should. Oh, it'd be hilarious if he goes to Waffle House, Ryan. And he runs into Malcolm there. They sit together and have a wonderful meal. I assume Braun would be getting some sort of deal where there was some sort of royalties for that. Just because it was released from his talent contract doesn't mean he's not going to get something for a show he's already done, unless they paid him up front for it somehow. So it all comes down to the deal.
I feel like they're going to bring him back. They're just going to re-sign him to
a Legends deal.
some type of deal. Because what did, when Braun got released the first time, he didn't go anywhere. He tried to do the control your narrative thing.
Did he ever?
And that was what it was. And then he did like a couple of like indie spots, but it's not like he signed to any other company. I don't think AEW has a real interest in him. TNA might have an interest, and like there's a spot for him there, but I don't know if he has an interest in that. Like Braun has always felt like a WWE guy in more ways than one. And it just feels like with this show, I would not be shocked if like this, let's say this show premieres in September 14th. I wouldn't be shocked if he's back in WWE on September 12th. I don't know what days those are. If those are Mondays, Fridays, absolutely no idea. But like, it just would not shock me if he, within a week of this show premiering, is on WWE television.
They should sign Braun to Ring of Honor. Have him pick up where he left off before he went back to WWE.
I'd do some amazing shit with Braun and Ring of Hallucinations. Amazing stuff.
Braun of Honor.
Are you kidding me? You give me a monster like Braun Strowman, who's already like in the lore of wrestling, can flip over trucks and things like that. Oh, I would do some great stuff with Braun.
Screw you, Drew. Anthony Brondane. This is very funny.
Good job, Drew.
Oh, God. Well, there you go. Who cares about Raw? Because you can watch Braun Strowman soon eating his way through America. Like, what is he eating? Where is he go? Have you ever listened to Braun talk about what he would eat on the road? It was mostly like, yeah, I stopped over at Chick-fil-A and got grilled chicken and salad and rice and veggies. Like, that's all it is. He doesn't eat anything cool.
I would have eating contests with Braun Strowman on Ring of Hallucinations. You got to smoke a little beforehand so you get like really hungry.
Yep.
And he would have eating, and it all leads to Strowman. I bring in my guy Brannigan for all of this, by the way. I'd make sure Brannigan can get some work.
Yes.
I bring in Megabyte Ronnie. That'd be Braun's like promoter, Megabyte Ronnie, doing like he'd be the Paul Heyman for eating champion Braun Strowman, and he'd beat all these people, and I'd get Strowman and Chestnut. I'd somehow secure this. This would be the biggest deal since Rodman and Malone. I'd get Strowman and Chestnut on pay-per-view eating contest. Box office right there. Absolute box office. We're passing out drugs and hot dogs for this event too. Everybody can eat the hot dogs along with them.
Can you infuse drugs in the hot dogs?
Maybe.
All right.
That might work.
Are you thinking about Randy Santil and his wife Katina?
Who?
They both professionally eat.
I don't know. I don't know who this is.
It's just Ryan mentioning that, and then also Beer Meets Food. Shout out to him. I like his content.
All right.
There are some good eaters on
the train whistle would play every single time Braun finishes a food.
Oh yeah, and he'd have to do a lap around the ring after he wins.
He would throw up. Get front row seat to get puked on by Braun Strowman. It's a fucking Gallagher show all of a sudden.
That's what we're working towards. Oh God, let's go. Drugs and hot dogs is how I like to watch baseball.
Fair.
I get it, Meat Enormous.
Fair.
Oh gosh.
Whatever.
That's fine. Braun has never cared about working outside of WWE. He just hasn't. He's always been a WWE guy. He was brought in at the top and he wanted to stay at the top. So I get it. But it's just very funny.
He's always been a WWE guy. When we talked about the releases, we talk about people who like only know the WWE system, and he's one of those guys. And I don't think he has a ton of interest in doing indie stuff outside of maybe one-offs every now and again. And that's fine. Some people want to do that stuff and really get out there, and other people don't. Like clearly he can do other shit, right? Like he's got a food show coming out. It ain't like he's got to go out there and hustle on the independent scene. Like he's got money elsewhere. He's probably made good money in his WWE career. So more power to him that he doesn't have to go out there and do that stuff.
Strowman took to Twitter and shared a heartwarming moment with a child, dropping a tease about his next venture. I can't even begin to express how sorry, I'm not going to do the voice.
You're Braun Strowman.
I can't even begin to express how special moments like these are to my family and I, he wrote. While that post had people guessing, it turns out Strowman was actually at Loopy and Iris, a renowned restaurant where he got hands-on in the kitchen. And then Strowman shared a behind-the-scenes clip of him cooking something special. Something big, quote, something big went down at the Loopy and Iris kitchen today. And a secret guest cooking up some heat. That's what the restaurant teased on Instagram. So basically, he started teasing this in March of 2025. So
I feel like it was even before that. Hold on.
That's when the social stuff was up.
All right, hold on. I swear I did a story. Maybe that's when like he was teasing stuff. Okay, here it is. This was June 2024.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, Braun Strowman says he's been working on a TV show. He was hitting diners and working on a TV show. So yeah, June 2024 is when I did this story. So it's clearly been in the works for a little while.
Let's see what a McDonald's order looks like for big ass McHungry. Someone's got a thing here. 9 McNuggets, 1 Big Mac, 1 McExtreme double bacon, 1 double cheese mayo. I don't know what that's about. 1 large fry, 1 soda, and 1 milkshake. This is in outside of the States.
Okay.
There you go. He got a lot of food. But anyway, point is, he's been doing this for a little while.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll watch it, but good on Braun Strowman.
I will watch it if he comes on our show to talk about that and train noises.
I would love to have Strowman on the show. We've got guests this week. I don't know why, but
yeah, I don't know where that came from.
Like important guests.
Oh yeah,
and Steve Macklin.
I like the part where we bury Steve Macklin on the show.
I'm just the Macklin interview is just going to be me pitching all these ideas to him. What are we going to talk about with Macklin? He just did an interview with Sean where he talked about the dog collar match and the report on blood and everything. Like, what are we going to talk about with Macklin? It's just going to be Macklin.
You know what's actually infuriating about this? Sorry, pull back the curtain for a minute for the live crowd. And everyone else listening, because I still pull the audio and I barely edit it. The idea that this is also going to be on a Wednesday, so whatever happens on TNA for Thursday, like we can't even talk about that yet. So I'm just like, what are we doing? We should ask Macklin if he was going to be in a food eating show where he would go and eat, because that's really all I got right now.
We're just gonna ask Macklin some really dumb questions, which is par for the course for us.
That's true.
We're gonna ask him some dumb questions, and I'm gonna pitch him my ring of hallucinations and see what he thinks. I gotta come up with a good idea for Macklin. Macklin can bleed as much as he wants in Ring of Hallucinations. I don't care.
Ring of Hematoma. Ring of hemophilia.
First question I'm going to ask the Macklin is, sup, legend, how's it feel to be you?
Yes, absolutely.
I'll 100% ask that to him first. I don't care.
This is gonna be an awful interview. He and I just spoke at the end of February too. Like, and I'm gonna see him at the end of this month.
First question, you're like, why are you here? We appreciate you being here, but like, why are you actually here?
Who put you up to this? Did you want this?
I have to imagine, like, he asked, like, that's the only thing I can think of. So, do
you think he's turning around and saying, "Put me on with Joel and Jeremy"?
I don't know.
I doubt that.
I doubt it too. But like, so here's the thing: is like Sean messaged me the other week, and he's like, "Did you guys ask for anybody from TNA?" And I was like, I didn't. Like, we were planning to before their next event next week, whenever.
Yeah, like, sorry, pull the curtain back. I was gonna talk to TNA PR like this week because their next show is next Friday. So I didn't want to have someone on so quickly, knowing that they have a final push for tickets coming. So anyway, yeah.
So yeah, Sean asked, like, did you ask for him? I was like, no, like I didn't. And Joel hasn't mentioned anything. I figured like if he did, he would say something, because usually when we asked, like anybody we ask, whether it's an independent person or if it's from another company, like we always put like, hey, I reached out to this person, trying to get something scheduled, and Joel didn't say anything. So I was like, no, I didn't. I was like, I didn't think anything of it. And then Sean messages me last night and he's like, you guys got Macklin on Wednesday. Like I just spoke to him because I just interviewed him. I was like, okay, cool. Like we love Macklin. I'm always happy when he joins the show. It's just very out of the blue of like, all right, sweet, Macklin on Wednesday.
I hope he has a different background than the one he normally has, where he's in the gym.
Bless Macklin.
Love it. It's funny when you interview enough of the same people, or you see enough of them doing interviews, that you know where their spots are. Another guy like that is Hammerstone, where he's got like that one corner of his place where you see the shelves up top. It's always the same spot. That shit rules. It's like, guys, a laptop and a green screen, you'll be fine.
And then tomorrow we're also so Macklin's on Wednesday. Tomorrow we're scheduled to be joined by Myron Reed. He just reappeared in MLW at MLW Azteca Lucha over the weekend. So he returned to MLW, and so we're gonna have him on the show tomorrow. I like Myron Reed. He was on the come up in that MLW run, and then he left MLW, and he was still doing good things in like GCW and on the independent scene and everything. Became a new dad with his partner Killer Kelly. So he took time off to make sure things were good on the home front, and now he's back in MLW. So I look forward to chatting with Myron Reed. He's by all accounts a good dude. Like I've listened to a few interviews with him, and just by stuff I've seen on like socials and stuff, and I think he has a bright future if he can start to really get himself back out there.
Yeah, looking forward to that conversation that you and SB3 are going to have with Myron tomorrow. So looking forward to a good week. It's going to be a fun one, a busy one, and Macklin will be here too. So let's get through this.
We're just going to ask Macklin just questions we would have for Braun Strowman.
That's true. Have you ever used the Dropping Bombs app, Macklin? If you don't know what that is, just go on the internet and look it up. Yeah. It's Places I've Pooped is what it's called. Oh God, do you have anything to otherwise to promote before we get on out of here?
No, and absolutely not. Ryan's saying Myron's a homie. Yeah, Myron again, by all accounts, seems like a good dude. So I look forward to chat with him.
Yeah,
interview Macklin's viewers to Tell us about your win, getting the first ever ROH Pure Women's victory.
This is just like the Shaq interview.
That was one of our best bits. We had Shaq on, interviewed him as Shaq. That ruled so much.
This is the funniest thing, is part of me thinks that this is a hilarious bit where like, okay, I'll spoil this. At the beginning of the Macklin interview that Sean does, he mentions how like Macklin and Deanna are in the running for like most interviewed by Fightful. And I feel like after the cameras went off, Macklin was like, hey, what's the tally? I want to beat my wife on this one. We were probably like, she's got one up on you. And he'll be like, I'll do Joel and Jeremy's show this week if that means that I've done more interviews on this platform than my wife.
We should lie to him and be like, we should cook the numbers, because I don't actually know what they are, but it should be like, and here's Steve Macklin for the 8th time here on Fightful. He's only 2 behind Deonna Purrazzo, who's done 10 interviews with us for most interviews on Fightful. That's how we're going to introduce Macklin, is we're going to lie and say he's, no matter what the numbers are, I'm going to come up with some dumb numbers instead of 8 and 10. I'm going to lie and say he's 2 behind Deonna Purrazzo. And then he's going to be like, I'll be back next week with you guys.
Perfect. He's going to get a weekly segment.
Yeah.
We have an intro for him.
That's true. We do. We have to play that when we bring him on. We do have to use that intro for him.
Do you think he remembers?
I'm sure once he sees it, he will.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's true.
I'm sure once he sees it, he will. You got to edit it, and the closing shot has to be the Danielson face that he made. That's got to be the closing shots of the intro, though.
Oh God, Macklin's going to be hosting the new ITW weekend show. That'd be
He's going to
hilarious.
review Ring of Hallucinations. That's going to be Macklin's job.
I can't imagine Macklin the podcaster because, like, I just can't. I can't imagine him hanging out for doing like a 2-hour shooting the shit podcast.
You imagine if Macklin was reviewing Ring of Hallucinations and then he's got to like critique Diana? Like, why is Diana in this storyline here? I'd probably enjoy it. I'd build the show around her. Are you kidding me? He'd probably enjoy my booking. He's gonna bury me though for certain things. Yeah. Rule.
It'd be very funny. The roast of mystery wrestling is coming to
that sounds awful.
Well, it's Uno, so it's going to be fantastic. Yeah. Friday, May 16th, noon Eastern. There we go. And I'm seeing in the chat that there's talk about the Evolution pay-per-view. So there you go. Once that's all shored up and confirmed, we'll have it over on Fightful Select. PW Insider has a little news on it right now, so we'll see. But it's everything I said it would be. So, Jeremy, let's get on out of here, shall we? Sure. Tuesday, Myron Reed, along with SP3 and Jeremy. Wednesday, the guy that we've just been talking about for the last 10 minutes that we have no idea what questions we're going to ask. If you got questions for Macklin, just drop them in the comments section of this video. All right, just go.
Discord, Joel, check Discord.
Yeah, or if you're in the Fightful Select Discord, just drop them there, and we'll probably use some of those. And depending on who's actually in the, in the StreamYard chat during that whole thing, maybe we'll ask some of them, because sometimes they don't like when we ask fan questions.
We'll get in trouble for that.
Who knows? Sometimes Macklin shows up on his own accord. Anyway, tomorrow, 10 a.m., Jeremy SP3, and then we're back to the races, the whole 9 yards. Y'all know what to do. Leave a thumbs up on the way out. See you tomorrow morning. Ladies and gentlemen, friends beyond the binary. See you in the next one.